Hi, this is Tom from 2 Cave Aquatics again. This is the unattended part 2 of the video I was making. And I was just getting ready to tell you I've been trying to work out some kinks here. I was having some problems with my video, with my batteries just dying suddenly. And first I thought it was my batteries. I have a Canon SX60 HS. It's a fixed lens camera, the one I'm using now. I've had it for years. It's got a 1365 millimeter zoom on it, all the way from 35 millimeter or whatever, but it's not on a tripod or anything like that. It doesn't have one of those hand accessories that controls volume or zoom. But so I ordered 2 new batteries because I know I've had these batteries for years and they've been recharged a bunch. And I still started having problems, and bought 2 new batteries. They came with another charger, and now just the other day I came to realize that one of my chargers, the original charger, is just on the fritz. And you can plug it in, it'll start charging, and then it'll show green, you know, where the batteries are charged, and then put them in the camera, and within a minute, that's it. Pop goes the weasel, they're done. So that's another part of it. And this camera, sometimes when I'm holding it and talking and watching the record button, the time, make sure I'm not running out of battery. My palm of my hand, my right hand, will hit the record button unknowingly, and that'll turn it off. So I'm trying to be more conscious of that. But yeah, I don't know why I called this an apple snail the other day. I know I've been watching videos on snails and invasive snails. Apple snails will destroy these plants. And if you Google apple snails, mystery snails for sale come up. That's pretty funny. But yeah, these are mystery snails, golden ones. There are 3 of them in this aquarium. This one's got a little hitchhiker here with it. And my black devil spike snails hanging like little icicles. Sometimes there'll be a shrimp on them cleaning the shell off. But I'm just having a little fun here and seeing what worked for me, trying out some different things in different tanks. It's funny, my wife and I were talking, you know, when I first talked about getting an aquarium in here. She bought me this really nice stand for it, and I thought about putting a filtration down here, then ended up putting a tank down here for quarantine. Now it's housing my talking catfish, Rasputin, letting him grow up. And I've made a few mistakes with this tank. Number one, when I realized you could mix cories and they would all get along together and they wouldn't be aggressive towards my snails or anything else in here, and they were great for cleaning up substrate. So I went out and got some different species of cory catfish. I've got albino ones, bronze cories. I've got a couple of panda cories, Julie cories I got. What I didn't do was enough extensive research to realize whether or not these species of cories were capable of crossbreeding or breeding in this tank, and that happened. I had some cories born in here, and I've been dealing with that. That doesn't happen anymore. I deal with the eggs when they come up. I see them laid in here, and I caught the cories that were born in here. I have them all other aquariums now, upstairs here, downstairs. But I was talking to my wife about getting an aquarium, and we were laughing the other day how this one aquarium has, like, rabbits breeding. Now we have 6. Suddenly we have 6 aquariums, and that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. Not just with me, with a lot of people. They'll start out with a little aquarium, they want a bigger one, or they want this kind of fish, or they want that kind of fish. And next thing you know, or they want to breed some fish. Next thing you know, there's a house full of aquariums. Thank God we have an upstairs and downstairs, and a shed. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, just be careful about aquarium forums, fish forums, places like Reddit. There's so much, I don't know, egos and misinformation and half information on things that you can really find yourself down some rabbit holes. Some people get kind of nasty on there, vindictive, but just take your own notes and try to determine what works for you in your personal situation. I've watched a lot of Father Fish videos. You know, one thing he didn't suggest any of them was to do a substrate tank, fill it full of plants, get your water parameters right, get some living, get some nature in there, some biodiversity, and then run out and buy yourself some nice flower horns and arowanas and big African cichlids and load your tank up. I don't hear him saying that anywhere. So it's not just what he says, it's what he doesn't say. Of course he knows that the tanks wouldn't work with a lot of fish. He doesn't suggest overpopulating, overstocking your tank either, like this one is. I didn't consult him or anybody else when I started loading this tank up. I saw these pretty dwarf range woes and quickly Googled if they would eat my shrimp or not. They mostly don't, even though I've caught one swimming around with one of my new Neocaridina shrimp hanging out like a cigar. I'm sure they've snatched another one here or there. I've got so many shrimp in here and they're born all the time. There's babies inside these cholla logs, stay in there for a couple of weeks before they come out. I think I actually saw a baby yellow one here earlier, but it wasn't on there. It wasn't here long. But a lot of people would consider this an overstocked tank. I mean, I've got 6, but look at these male endlers. They're not even an inch long. These neon tetras are barely an inch. These autocinclus are really small. I don't necessarily go by the inch per gallon when it comes to fish either. It really depends on, do you do water changes, monthly, weekly water changes? What kind of tank you have set up? Are you using filtration or not? What you're willing to do as far as maintenance. I know some of these people with big cichlid tanks do 80% water changes on their aquariums weekly. And I've seen them do tests for ammonia and stuff, and they have to. They really don't have any choice. They've got so many big cichlids and stuff in those tanks, but they don't mind doing that maintenance. They love every bit of it. I want fish, and I have fish that I know I can't keep in this tank. So I have to set up tanks in a different manner. And there was someone recently, like I said, in one video, someone I respect was trashing Higher Lights. It doesn't matter that it was Higher, but he's trashing Higher Lights, saying that they're just not going to grow plants for you. They don't have the par value, blah blah blah. And then another video, the same person I have a lot of respect for, was talking about a different subject, but they got around to lights, and he specifically said a Higher Light, this Higher Light, especially even at 50% intensity, provide all the light that your plants need. So there's the contradiction, but I still like watching his videos. He's very informative. I've seen another video where somebody did the same thing. I only saw one video from this person, or not anyone that I follow, but he said the same thing about how your lights are not able to grow plants at all. They're just complete total waste of money. And of course at the end he was pushing some really high dollar lights. They probably work fine too. And you know, you find that with filtration, big Flugel FX6s, and people that use those. You can Google those, you can look on YouTube and find 100 different ways to put material in those big canister filters. I even thought about using one here. I know how to work them, but I've seen the price of them, like a Flugel FX6, go anywhere from $400 to over $675 and up. Depends on what site you buy them from. And then there's all the material that goes in them on top of that. And the stand, this aquarium that I got half off, brand new. The sponge filters were really cheap. The Tidal 110 was not that expensive. I could set up most of this aquarium for one of the higher end costs of one of those big filters. So yeah, that wasn't okay with me. I'm not going to spend $400 to $600 or $600 for just a filter when I know I don't need that in here. Even with this Tidal 110, I modified the basket, avoided the warranty on it, but it works better. And I can buy a replacement pump for that for about $30 and free shipping, and a new impeller for that for a few bucks. If it ever goes out, but I do maintenance on it, I clean my impellers and service my filters, take the pumps off, clean everything, put them back together. It's pretty simple. It doesn't take that long. The basket's easy to lift out. There's so many different combinations that I've already tried with the biocylinders, balls, different types of sponge filters, filter floss, filter batting, 50 micron filter pads, C-Chem Purigen, C-Chem Hydrosorb, Cobalt Matrix. And I go back and forth and I look at the water quality and I see what works best for me. And I don't mind doing experimentation. I don't mind trial and error, learning from my mistakes, learning from other people's mistakes, telling people the mistakes I've made in here so they can avoid them. I'd rather do that than gain some ego and think I'm like the Mr. of anything when it comes to aquariums. This next 60-gallon tank ought to be something. It'll be a little goofy or different. Nothing like this one, nothing like that one, nothing like my 20-gallon high. I used to grow a lot of cannabis back, 30 years. I never grew the same strain twice. Almost never grew plants the same way twice. I've used about every kind of light and medium fertilizers, light schedules, sprays, everything that you could possibly think of. And some things I won't try again. Some things I pretty much do every single time I do it now, whatever. But I mean, that's just the way I am. I try things, I try different things, and see for myself, rather than take any one person's word or any one channel's word for anything. I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. I mean, if you find somebody out there that you feel you can trust, you trust their opinions, you trust the information they're giving you, and it's working out for you, then that's an amazing thing, and you should thank them. And I do. At least give them credit. I'm not taking the credit for and hear all of this. I've given credit where credit is due. People I feel have been like sort of like a mentor, even they don't know I'm live or an influence. And I gotta give credit to them. These apple snails, I mean, just here I go again. Mystery snails are everywhere. This was snuck underneath the cave here where that other new catappa leaf is at. But the hatchet fish, the marble hatchets, dwarf marble hatchets, and the big silver hatchets are all doing great. There's no aggression in this tank at all, from the largest, the rainbow fish and the hatchets, right down to the small other creatures are just going about their day without a care. Nothing's harassing them, chasing them, making them hide. And it's just a beautiful thing, all the way down to the seed shrimp and the biodiversity that Father Fish talks about that you can't not see without a microscope. But if you have a balanced tank, it's in there, or it should be in there, or you should be taking the steps